Everybody, welcome back to Small Couch Reviews. It's your boy Sam here on this Comic Book Wednesday. Although it is mad late, so you're probably going to see this on a Thursday. But anyway, it's been a minute, but I'm happy to be here talking about comics, specifically Absolute Wonder Woman, which is absolute gold. Now, this entire Absolute universe that spun out of 2024's Absolute Power, which in itself is one of the greatest DC events just ever. It was so good. But anyway, this universe that spun out of it's been kind of hit or miss for me. I talked about Absolute Superman, which, I did like the fact that they showed that he actually grew up on Krypton. So we got to see how losing it really impacted his psyche. But the whole, depressed, edgelordy vibe that he was giving off, this dude who just his only friend was his cape. I wasn't feeling it, and I kind of fell off. I like my Superman to be, more the symbol of hope. This guy seemed like darker than Zack Snyder's version, but if you're reading it and you like it, more power to you. I love Absolute Green Lantern, which I will talk about in another video. Stars Joe, who is in the short-lived Far Sector series, where she was solving like a murder mystery in a far sector. Loved that, love her, and I like that she's kind of taking center stage with the other Green Lanterns we know. Absolute Flash is mid to bad to me. I that one, there are a lot of changes I didn't really like. I mean, I don't hate that Wally West is our Flash, but I mean, there being no Speed Force, like that whole it just, I don't know, it wasn't for me. And the narrative that I'm actually being told in this first arc, I didn't really like. I haven't read Absolute Batman, but I mean, come on, we've all seen the memes, we've all seen the art. I'm going to be reading this soon, and I think I'm going to love it. But Absolute Wonder Woman, I have read, and I can say I really like. Of the series I have read, I think she is the closest to the Wonder Woman that we know in the main DC universe. Which, if I didn't mention this Absolute universe, these characters are different, fundamentally different than what you have now. Wonder Woman, fundamentally, like, she seems the same as she's an adult. Her origin, completely different, and I really liked it. We are 2 arcs in as of issue 12 of this series, or I guess there's technically 3 arcs in as of issue 12 of this series, where I am now. I'm going to be talking about the very first arc, because I think that's, what you need to know to get started and get you excited to read this. So the biggest difference by far of this series is Diana's origin, okay? So Diana, we knew, grew up on Themyscira with her mother, Hippolyta. She was an Amazon, came to our world as Wonder Woman, the superhero, right? In this Absolute universe, for some mysterious reason, she was ripped away from the Amazons, delivered to hell, and given to the witch Circe, who you may know from the Odyssey, and was left there essentially to be raised by Circe and die. Like, stuck forever, banished to hell for whatever reason. And we are told she is the last of the Amazons, which makes you think that the gods, these Greek gods, maybe have killed or destroyed her entire family for some reason. We don't know. But we see Diana grow up with Circe, who isn't really mothering at first, but she has a great line where she says something like, "You learn to love a child by spending time with it." So even though she didn't want Diana, and she herself, Circe that is, hates the gods, she did what they said. She raised them because, it was a baby, and she learned to love it. And so Circe became Diana's mother in this universe. And Diana still grew up, even in growing up in hell with, dangerous monsters and stuff. She became friends with some of them because Diana just spreads love wherever she goes. She is also crazy strong. So she grew up in hell and learned how to fight in hell. And she has a lot more magic than the Wonder Woman that we know. So that's a nice little addition to her skill set here that I really like. But our first issue literally starts with like something breaking out of hell and attacking the mainland. There, Diana then somehow has escaped hell, though we don't really know how she did it as an adult. She's escaped hell and comes to defend defend Earth, essentially, from this threat. And it is a very dangerous threat. I kudos to the writer here, Kelly Thompson, who by this point is kind of an OG in the game. She really drafted a truly, it feels like a Greek epic. Like, everything, the scales feel big, the stakes feel big, and the monster she fights is really, really big, and she fights it with a really, really big sword. But I'm getting ahead of myself. There's really a lot to like here, But I think it really boils down to Diana's personality, the epic scale of things, the shroud of mystery surrounding everything that kind of piques your curiosity, and the art style. So as far as Diana goes, I mentioned she is like the most similar of all these absolute characters to the Diana of Themyscira that we know. She cares about life. She literally gave her arm to save someone's life. She comes to the land of men knowing they won't trust her, but being understanding of them. She tells them, I mean, you're not going to stop me from saving lives very directly, but she says she understands that you're not going to trust me. Think about that. Someone raised in hell, you would think they would just be the most evil thing ever, but she still is our Wonder Woman. And she makes friends faster than Naruto. She has these four, I guess we'll call them sidekicks, including, Steve Trevor and Barbara Minerva, who you may know is the cheetah in the mainstream universe. But she meets them in these first issues and immediately earns their trust. She trusts them, and they solve this thing together, right? I don't know. It's just the way she's written it, Kelly Thompson, the way she's written this character. She's so relatable and easy to root for. So it's easier to read, and you constantly want to read to understand what she's going to get into next. And hopefully she gets the answers that she's looking for. Speaking of those answers, the other thing I mentioned, the mystery. We don't know why the gods are somewhat afraid of Diana, why they threw her to hell, why they essentially are angry at the Amazons. Like, there's definitely a sense of fear there, but it can't just be because, Diana is an Amazon and has Amazonian strength. Like, there has to be something else. There's something else going on, and knowing that, and Diana trying to figure that out really, really helps the narrative as well. I'm a sucker for mystery, so I like seeing that. And it's not just that. We still don't know how she got out of hell in the first place, which Hades he's not happy about, but she escaped somehow. There's still a lot of questions about her upbringing, and I love that every issue does have a flashback to her time with Cersei in hell on their island, and we see how she grew up and how she became what she is. So that's really dope too. So multiple layers are being exposed here, and you're peeling back the onion and getting some answers. And I really like the pacing it's going at. It's not so slow that you're like, what, I don't care anymore. But again, it's not so fast that you feel like there's just this major exposition dump. Outside of the writing, the art, so good. Now, I will say it did take me a while to get used to like the close-ups of their faces. I like the environments a lot. But like, the way Hayden Sherman, sorry, I just looked at that's who I thought was the artist, but I had to make sure because he didn't do all 12 issues. But Hayden Sherman, the way that he draws the characters, I do like, but again, it took me a little while to get used to the way the faces are portrayed. But I'll tell you one thing, them action sequences are amazing. There is one in the first enemy that Diana fights. So one of her powers involves like she has like this sack that just holds anything. She has a lasso in there, but it's not a lasso of truth. It's like a lasso of sin. It burns you depending on how many sins you have committed, which is amazing. She holds, an axe, and she holds a sword. But this Diana can do magic because she learned it from Cersei. So she constantly mixes potions or says chants, right? And there's one chant she says that makes her sword grow like a Megazord. Like, yo, that panel is probably my favorite panel that I've read so far. She literally gets a giant sword, holds it up, and slashes this thing. And it was incredible to read. Just incredible. Like, this is comics at its core. Just cool action scene, superhero being super. Loved it. I feel like I'm ranting now, but just know, Absolute Wonder Woman reads like a true like Greek epic story. Like we're reading the saga of Diana Themyscira as she's trying to find her people and still stay true to herself. There's so much mystery surrounding people's motivations, but it's not so much that it's overwhelming. It's just enough to keep you curious. I would recommend this one, man. You should really go check it out. Add it to your pull list. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys for listening. Until next time, I'm out.